This is a model of the Discovery, which was a steam-powered Arctic exploration ship used by Captain Scott on his expedition to the South Pole. I bought this, God, it would have been probably the mid-1980s, and built it back then. So, it's nowhere near as high quality build as you see on the internet these days. But I've managed to preserve it all these years through house moves and marriage and everything. And, well, what's it? That's 30 odd years, really. And it has hardly ever been damaged. There's a little bit of damage on it. But, of course, when I used to make models at home with my parents, my mother used to just call these dust collectors. And this is exactly the kind of thing that they are. These have been up on top of a wardrobe, a bookshelf in my study for the last 20 odd years, actually, in this house. And we've just done a little bit of renovation and replaced some of the old bookshelves for newer ones. And so that gave me an opportunity to take this down and start having a quick look at the boats, see how they were, see if anything had happened with them. There's a few little masts have snapped in them during those years. They've all gotten really rather filthy, as you can see here. I'm just using a Q-tip and just some warm water. I'm just giving them a little bit of a wipe over and a wash. And yes, it's all dirty. Yep, you do a quick swipe over, and the water is dirty and everything. This thing gets covered pretty quickly. But that's fine. I'll just give it a little bit of a wash down, and then I'll clean it up again with a clean one and clean water. As you can see, this is going to take quite a long time. It'll be quicker than building it, that's for sure, but it's one of those things that you don't often do, unless you've got an enclosed display case. Things like this with lots of rigging and lots of sails and things that they're just magnets for dust. You can see here one of the bowsprit sails has come away. There's a tiny little drill hole. Very difficult to see, but there's a tiny little hole with a drill thread through up here. There's also one at the bottom there, but at the time when I built it, I really didn't have the skills or the patience to do all the rigging as it was described in the manual. That was just way too much. So I just did basic rigging because I was just doing it for my own amusement. There we go. I have to just pop a little bit of glue on that later, and hopefully keep that in place. I don't pretend to be an expert. I'm no expert looking at this would probably go, it's pretty shoddy workmanship. But, well, I was a young man at that time. I had other things to do. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was very tolerant of the fact that I did spend a lot of time doing modelling, which is, modelling. Making plastic models was very much a strange. Probably quite surprised who wanted to stay around with me after that. It does seem a bit weird. I was there probably 20 years old at the time. Kind of probably would have seemed rather juvenile. Hobby to have. My brother and I, we used to make plastic models when we were young kids, and we had a really good collection. We'd save up all our money to buy model kits and make them, play with them, as you do when you're a kid. But I hadn't done anything like that for a long time. When I got into this nostalgia kick. I don't know. I can't even remember why. When I was in my 20s, I just thought, oh. But I wasn't interested in aircraft or things like that. I was interested in ships. Well, that was just an interest that I had. So it seemed a little bit more mature to me at the time than, toy soldiers and model kits and aircraft and war and that sort of thing. If I remember rightly, the Discovery is still around. It's a museum ship in Aberdeen, in Scotland, and in the early 2000s, my wife and I were travelling, and we put it on the agenda to see. We went there and saw the Scott Museum. I'll throw in a few photographs. The photos I took were pretty ordinary. I think sometimes with ships, it depends on the day, what the weather conditions are like, whether you get any good shots. But when you're inside a ship, it doesn't necessarily look like anything too exciting. I do like old ships and things, so we usually do go. I drag my wife along to various museum ships around the world when we're travelling. As you'll see a couple. I'll put a link to some of the ones we visited while we're away on this video. Anyway, that's just it's going to take a long time, actually. I had just done a little bit of a cleanup on another ship that I had. There's 4 that I've got on top of my shelf, my bookshelf. It was the Revenge, and because I had it down, it had several broken spars, so I glued them back together and gave it a quick wipe over with a Q-tip and gave it a little bit of a wash, and it came up really well. Only a short amount of time. It has lots of little cannons and things in it, which make it look kind of really fiddly. And I looked at after I did that and thought, I should have taken some before and after pictures just so that I could see the condition, like how much it changed from covered in dust to being clean. And when I finished with that one, I thought, I would go and do another one. And I picked this up because I thought this will be an easy one, because it's fairly simple. Like, the hull is all black. It's not very. It doesn't have any protrusions out here. There's no cannon sticking out. There's no cannon ports. So it didn't look as though it would be difficult. I was completely wrong though, because this one has got I did way more. Way more of the rigging, and there are lots and lots of little things here. As you can see, all these little air vents and things, and getting into these spots is actually way harder than I thought. I'm a bit afraid I'm gonna do more damage to it by cleaning it than it has had in all the years that it's been sitting on top of the bookshelf. Anyway, but we need to do it. It's you can see it's quite horrible in many spots. Anyway, that'll do for the moment. I'll just keep plugging away at this. If you're interested, check in. If you're not, don't. Everything is up to you.